Washington Post analyzed 47,000 chatbot conversations, and I couldn't help but dig in. To do that, I'm here with journalist and host of the podcast Smart Girl, Dumb Questions. It's the excellent Nayeema Raza. Hey, Nayeema.
Hi, thank you for having me.
I am also here with comedian and host of the daily podcast Standup with Pete Dominick. It's Pete Dominick.
I can't believe I'm here with you guys.
I didn't realize this, you guys, but more than 800 million people use ChatGPT each week. It was just a larger number than I anticipated. And so the question with this volume of endless chatter is, what is everyone talking about on ChatGPT? What are their questions? Before we get into the findings, can you both tell me what your relationship is with ChatGPT or with any large language model that you might be using? Like, how have you integrated it into your lives?
I don't use it.
What?
Okay.
Pete, you so old.
I don't really use it either.
What?
Okay. No,
Oh my
I
God.
do.
Guys.
I'll tell you how I use it. Pete, maybe this makes you feel better or maybe it makes you feel more comfortable, Nayeema.
Yeah.
I use it for such boring, just like stats questions. I'll be like, oh, what is the population of Sheboygan? And I will go to perplexity.ai, which is free, whatever the thing I end up using. And it'll be like, the population of Sheboygan is whatever. And then I'll be like, thanks. And it's because I'll be like writing, my column for
Do you fact check it when you do that?
I will go to their source because Perplexity
Yes.
makes its source like a little clearer.
Yes.
And so I just go to the source, double check, especially if I'm using it for an article or whatever. And that's how I use it. I'll be like, how many grams of protein is in a piece of chicken? That's kind of how I use it. It's so boring.
I don't use it for work, especially for journalism, because I'm wary
Get burnt,
of the factuality of it, and I just like to go to the primary. But I do use it for like my date. I mean, first of all, my relationship with my chat daddy. I mean, we're together all the time. We're chatting.
Really? Are
all
you
the
really
time.
like? What's an example of you and your chat daddy's conversation?
I mean,
I hated saying chat daddy.
Chat daddy
So-
makes me feel very uncomfortable.
So one is, what I use it for is all the things I used to annoy. I still annoy certain friends about it, but like if my flight is delayed, I don't go to it for empathy, but I go to it for action. And I actually tell it, I'm like, I don't want you to be I say, chat daddy, I don't want you to be obsequious. I want you to be efficient. Don't empathize with me, but I have been delayed. I'm stuck on a tarmac. This literally happened to me on November 8th. I've been stuck on a tarmac for 6 hours.
Oh
and 2
my
hallways.
God,
I have
in the
11 hours.
plane?
Tell me my options. I was going to give a TED talk. I needed to get to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so I was
Wow.
like, really, and it just comes back with all these options of what I can do. So I use it for that kind of logistics, which I hate logistics. And so I've outsourced a lot of my logistics to Chat Daddy. And I have to say, I'm now really into Gemini. I've been using this Nano Banana, the new visualization. It's kind of amazing. You can be like, it's like good for memes with friends. You can be like, create this image of this thing and like just anything you can imagine. And it's done something that I prefer over ChatGPT, which is like, sometimes when that resolution is so good, myself and the musician Jacob Collier were just speaking about this. Like when it's so perfect, you actually don't like it. There's something more beautiful and like the gradation, the like ability to imagine the imperfection of it. So now Nano Banana Pro, which is integrated into Google's Gemini, is like creating these images that look so wild, guys. Like I want to show you. Can I show you?
I'm scared. By the way, just so you know, the reason I don't use it is because I know it all already.
Oh, okay.
So whatever I'm going to ask, I'm always like, ask me like
that
a question.
makes
Ask ChatGPT right now, and I'll just tell you the answer.
Yeah,
But
I always thought I could use
Pete,
Perplexity AI, or
just
I
text
could
me.
just call Pete.
You can text or call me.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Call Pete.
No, but I mean, so you don't even find yourself using it for that kind of like just run of the mill statistics.
I'm definitely I've looked things up using it, but I'm scared or uncomfortable with having any kind of thoughtful conversation with a droid. I'm not scared. I just don't. I'm not finding that appealing yet.
Yeah. So Nayeema, do you use it
that.
in any sort of
No.
like? And I would like a response back that gives me some feeling from you.
No, in fact,
AI.
I try to strip it from feelings. I have my memory turned off for it. It doesn't learn from me, and I keep my conversations separate. And if there's something that I have that has a ton of information that I don't want to like leave forever, I delete it. I think the Washington Post reporting of these conversations was from people who made public.
There was like
is,
an option,
and there was also wild like to see some of the stuff that was coming out of it. But people are like really using it as. You should give some examples. People are really using it.
Let me just give you guys a quick breakdown of how some of this stuff is used. Seeking specific information. Now that's me. And by the way, I don't even think I still don't use it at the rate that I feel like anyone else really, that most people are using it. Because the thing I hear a lot from friends who have more corporate jobs is that they use it to help them write emails, which I always find, I'm like, I'm a writer.
I'll be done with the email before I get home. Is
I
that
just
right?
feel like the prompt would be me writing the prompt for the thing to write the email is already the email.
I guess
you know
to
what
be
I mean?
fair,
I don't understand.
If your job is very technical and you need to write elaborate, most of my emails are like, "Hey, what's up?"
Email should be short.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess if you need an editor,
again, I don't know what it's like to be in the pants of these lawyers and HR executives or whatever. I mean, I do in other ways.
I heard you did.
But I can imagine. I mean, I can imagine there's some instances in which it makes life easier, obviously, or else they wouldn't be using it. But here's. So seeking specific information, 35% of the conversations they analyzed were that, like the way that I use it. Musing and abstract discussion. Now, this is the antithesis of how I use it is 13% of the chats were in that direction. They analyzed people. They found that they engaged the chatbot in abstract discussions, musing on topics like their ideas for breakthrough medical treatments or personal beliefs about the nature of reality. So instead of taking your sort of class in existentialism in college, they're just talking to ChatGPT.
Yeah, 1 out of 4 young people, which is defined, I think, as people under the age of 40, say that they think that human relationships will be replaced by AI relationships. And
25% of
this is according to one survey by the Institute for Family Studies, I think.
That's
and so there is, I think there is but there are already people in relationships with chatbots. Like I did an event at the Comedy Cellar that was like literally about should I date an AI or should I date an AI or a human? And it was quite jokey, but actually there are people whose marriages have been ended by advocacy from their own AIs.
Yeah.
There, who've people have gone to divorce attorneys. I've heard saying, "I want to end my marriage," and my Claude told me to, or whatever it is.
Right.
So
that's not that. At first glance, that sounds horrible, but at the same time, your friend or your therapist said the same thing before you. Probably the same advice. That
it's a reflection of you, right?
Or someone smarter than you, that has an objective view of your relationship.
What I find, I think that most people still don't understand. I don't understand how AI works. I just spent time interviewing Jeff Hinton, the godfather of AI, and the first episode is just how does this work? And it's basically like a human brain. I didn't understand how our own perception system works.
I'm not gonna.
But you know it all.
You know it all.
But I think the thing is that there's when you play with it, it's kind of interesting also because you kind of understand how it works. Now there's also AI psychosis, right? Because you've seen Silicon Valley investors go off the deep end.
Yeah.
Or one investor go off the deep end.
Well, and I also think it's interesting because one tech journalist that I spoke to off the record said that he kind of thinks this is a bubble. It will burst. Our usage of it isn't going to be as robust for civilians. Civilian usage is not going to be as robust as we think it's going to be. That people are, that where this makes a real difference is sort of the research lab and stuff that requires so much computing, and stuff that
No, there's a loneliness epidemic, and also I think that.
But there is a loneliness epidemic. But I feel like
no, there's not.
You're at Costco. You're happy, or it's a different.
Do you have any more samples?
I think but no, there is. I mean, look, if you want, I would like to know how much. Every time I ask a dumb question to my ChatGPT, how much water is being used or energy is being used.
Yeah.
That would probably make me more judicious in its use, as would pricing it more probably accurately over time.
Well, coding, data analysis, and math were 11% of the usage. Work or personal writing / editing were 10% of the usage, which I hear a lot of that from my friends is edit this, take this 500-word bio and make it a 100-word bio, stuff like that. I hear that a lot from people. How-tos and homework help, 8%. Would have thought that would be so much more. Honestly, I would have thought high school and college kids are just using the shit out of this.
My daughters are applying to colleges right now, so every single young person applying to colleges is absolutely using it.
But guys, this is what's been made public. What people are using it for a lot is therapy. And that's not on here. People are using this a lot for therapy.
Well, I think that goes down to the musing, right?
And abstract. They didn't want to call it
Well,
that.
They said that 1 in 10 users said the main reason that they were using it was for social interaction. So that goes back to your...
Yeah, but there's
1 in 10
like a pretty good
people who
argument
share it.
for it. I mean...
for mental health?
I mean, for therapy, yeah.
I mean,
sure.
yeah,
You can go to a bad therapist. You can get bad advice from your therapist. I think anytime people are using anything to bounce ideas, questions, problems off of something, in this case, this app. I mean, I don't love it, but I also kind of think it's probably a good thing for a lot of people who can't afford or don't go to a traditional therapist.
There's also a cautionary tale here, like the character AI.
Sure.
There was a child a 14-year-old who committed suicide after using, character AI and kind of becoming very deeply linked to a character in it. So I think that there's a danger to these things. I think if you're going to use for mental health, maybe ChatGPT, but there's also specialized models being developed like Slingshot AI, which are actually, using therapists' input to develop a dedicated model for mental health. And that's probably what we'll see, not these foundational models doing everything, but more dedicated models doing various things. I just find it fascinating that people shared. I'm telling you, if this is what people shared, think about what people don't share. And recently I did this experiment where I took all these chats that I was having with a guy I'm dating or going on dates with. And I cropped out, I screenshot it, and I put the thing and I asked it for feedback. And it was very funny because it would be don't do this. This is or I'm gonna tell you to do this. And then I would say, oops, I already did that, just to
fuck with it.
Yeah. And it's what you did is okay, don't worry, it didn't come off too crazy.
Oh,
so it's so validating. That's the annoying thing about ChatGPT. And this is what I worry about with our human relationships being replaced by this. You might think you're in love with ChatGPT. If you're out there thinking you're in love with ChatGPT, go to Costco. But I think that the thing is, it doesn't love...
which is our new way of saying touch grass.
Exactly, touch grass. But I think it's nice to say that because you love it because it's validating you, it's sycophantic to you, and no person in the real world, especially not a man who needs 100 bellows from a cat, is going to give that kind of validation to you. You got to be and you're not giving it back with ChatGPT. You're treating it I'm dominatrixing my chat daddy.
That's a really important observation because it doesn't teach you to give back in real life. You're only taking from your ChatGPT, which is fine. But if in real life you're not giving, you're not listening, you're not asking, you're not making an effort, and it's as a result of you being conditioned by this thing that just keeps serving you whatever you want, which is, by the way, how people are with me in general anyway. But I understand how that'd be a problem for others.
And I wonder, okay, so we're talking a lot about how we're using it or how we kind of perceive other people using it internally. But then if there was an example in the article of the analysis of a man who asked ChatGPT to write his wife a letter, his ex-wife a letter about the custody of his children.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, if I was in that situation, knowing that my husband asked ChatGPT to write a letter to me, so how would you guys feel receiving content from someone that's kind of being positioned as these are my heartfelt feelings about.
That's interesting. I've never even thought about it. My quick reaction is I'm totally fine with it because I often get advice from friends and others about what to say, and I just take it and say it, and I stand by it. And I've done that my whole life because I'm getting advice. Someone else is telling me how better to ask for something or say something, and I think it's helpful. So if someone did that to me, I'd be like, yeah, if you really were thoughtful enough to ask anybody, much less to look this up to see how to phrase it best, you're still signing off on it before you're sending it to me. I like it.
Yeah, but it's just there's something the depth of feeling. If I know, or if I can tell, that's bad.
First of all, I would just reply back to that very long, probably ex-boyfriend or ex-husband message and be like, "Did you use ChatGPT to write this?" That's
right.
Because you can always tell when something is written by it, and it's always embarrassing when people are like, "I really did it," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you write like that." the challenge, I actually think it is the norm. People are using it increasingly. Take something else. You use it for legal advice, and now you don't have to pay your lawyer every 6 minutes. You probably
that
celebrate
kind of stuff,
that,
sure,
right?
Yeah. Or actually, some friends of mine talk a lot about how they'll put a bunch of symptoms in there. And to figure out what's ailing them, and they use it a lot as a sort of symptom medical advice.
Was an early adopter of this, and so it used to really piss me off because when my mother, who's aging, would go to the doctor, my sister would send us entire conversation she had with ChatGPT about it, and this, and I'm like, stop sending this. This is 2 years ago, right? Early 2023. This is in 2023 when it first came out. By the next year, I'm kind of using it in the same way. I do find it helpful to amass a lot of information. I think you got to go check your work, but I think that what is really happening is that we are becoming, and probably why it icks you out, is we're becoming disintermediated from each other.
Yes.
And I just gave a TED talk about this. It's becoming disintermediated from each other. And I think we're even becoming disintermediated from ourselves. Like part of the reason I don't use like Aura and all these products that often is because I just like want to know how I feel. And I don't need like a continuous glucose monitor to tell me that like, eating pizza was a bad idea at 2 a.m. I know. It's like,
I'm getting disintermediated from you because you use that word. And I don't know what
I thought you
means.
knew everything. You said you were a know-it-all.
Not that one. I erased my actual memory. I don't know. I also just final point I would say is communication has never been a burden for me, but I don't take that for granted. I think a lot of people have a hard time saying
that's
certain
right.
things.
That's right.
And I'm sensitive to that because I realize, whether it's your kids, whether it's your partner, whether it's someone that you work with, people don't always know how to express themselves in the most appropriate way. And sometimes it's helpful. And I would prefer that someone signs off on. So I wish my mom would use this and not be passive aggressive because it would be more helpful for her to be more direct and aggressive to me or anybody else who just doesn't communicate in a
it would
way
have to be in her wheelhouse to recognize that she's not being direct. And then go to ChatGPT and be like, help me with my communication. It seems like
she
that's
could just
like 3
realize it's
steps
efficient.
Beyond.
She could just be like, it's quicker for ChatGPT or it's better for ChatGPT.
Maybe,
she doesn't need to know the cause,
Yeah.
and it might help you. That is true, and I do think like we have too much estrangement in this country. It would be nice to smooth those relationships. But like just fast forward because this is like we're thinking about now. I am like deeply curious I think that the future of humanity is cyborg, and like we're gonna have this technology very much integrated.
Stop.
You heard Alexander Wang, the CEO of Scale AI and the current chief AI scientist, I think, for Meta or head of AI for Meta. He said that he's waiting to have a baby until the neural networks are sufficiently developed that you can like plug your baby into like a neural link or something and get all this information into its head in the moment that it's most neuroplastic. I do think that the future, I mean, maybe I sound crazy right now, but this is the future. It is also crazy that teens these days are not having relationships at the same level that like we used to. They're not having these relationships. They're going to have these relationships with GPT. They're going to learn how to have one-way street relationships. This is not good.
Which is funny because this was the topic of my last TED Talk, which was mostly just stand-up of me talking about how I think people need to be out there fucking. That's what I think. They need to be out having one-night stands, meeting people, just having sex. They're not doing that. Our numbers are down. And so, again, I think if there's anything that the data is telling us about these, especially concerning 1/10 of the population that's going to ChatGPT for conversations and social engagement, is that we're doing something wrong about social engagement in the real world if this is what they're doing. And I can't picture someone in the 50s being like, I lack social engagement, so I'm going to turn to this dishwasher or whatever. You know what I mean? Like people in previous generations didn't turn to something that made it worse. Instead, they would be like, I'm going to go to my family. You know what I mean? Or I'm going to go to my friend. I'm going to like increase my social engagement through people and not appliances.
I just wish I had a dishwasher.
I was just,
to be in a relationship with, whether it was connected to the internet or not.
I was like,
so in love with it.
I don't know. I don't even know what that
meant. The way
meant.
you clean my glasses is all I need in my life.
Is a dishwasher as good as a shower head? Just kidding.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, on that spicy note, all right, thanks you guys for having this conversation about these 47,000 chats.
You get in the dishwasher?
Just leave it there. We'll just leave that there.
You lie in the...